Imagine you're standing on a multi-billion-dollar vessel, thinking you've seen every inch because you carefully checked the deck plans. You're wrong. Over 90% of cruise passengers walk right past the best features of their ship without ever realizing they even exist. This mistake doesn't just cost you comfort. It costs you money, massive upgrades, and once-in-a-lifetime moments you can't get back. I'm pulling back the curtain on secret forward decks, unlisted menus, and hidden discounts from Royal Caribbean to Carnival. Pay close attention, because secret number 7 is a technical inventory glitch that shocks even the most loyal cruisers. 1. The secret forward decks. Almost every major cruise ship hides a prime viewing area at the very front of the ship, but you won't find it highlighted on any glossy brochure. These spots are often intentionally disguised behind plain, heavy metal doors that look like they belong in an engine room. Think about a crowded sea day on a Royal Caribbean Oasis-class ship. The pool decks are a chaotic mess of screaming kids and chair hogs who reserve their spots at 6 a.m. While everyone else is fighting for a square inch of space, a savvy traveler walks to the very end of the Deck 14 hallway. They ignore the utilitarian look of the door and push through what many think is an emergency exit, only to find themselves on a silent, 270-degree viewing platform directly above the bridge. If you don't find these secret wings, you're stuck fighting for a sliver of railing space during a sunset or glacier viewing. You'll miss that Titanic moment of seeing the bow cut through the water in total silence. Most passengers think these areas are restricted, but the crew just leaves them unmarked to keep the crowds away. But here's the catch. Once you know where they are, the experience of sailing completely changes. Check your ship's deck plan for white space at the very front of lower middle decks. And look for heavy doors that don't have crew-only signs. They usually lead to the best views on the ship. 2. Hidden adults-only pocket retreats. Beyond the famous Serenity or Solarium areas, cruise ships have tiny, unmapped sun decks tucked away in corners you'd never think to look. These are the pocket retreats, and they are the ultimate escape for anyone tired of the main pool's thumping bass. Take an NCL ship, for example. They want you to pay hundreds of dollars for a pass to the Vibe Beach Club. It's exclusive, sure, but it's also expensive. Meanwhile, an insider who explores the area behind the fitness center or up a side staircase near the funnels often finds a small, cushioned sun deck with a hot tub that remains 90% empty. These spots aren't listed on your Freestyle Daily planner because the cruise line would rather sell you a private cabana. The consequence of following the crowd is spending your vacation surrounded by splashing and noise when a private oasis experience was available for $0 extra. You'll see people crammed into the solarium like sardines while you just one deck up in total peace. Most cruisers assume if a deck is empty, it must be closed, but that's rarely the case. Wander the highest decks near the spa entrance or fitness center and follow any staircase that seems to lead nowhere. It almost always leads to a hidden sun deck. 3. The secret steakhouse menu hack. You can often enjoy $60 specialty restaurant food in the main dining room for a fraction of the cost, or sometimes, if you have a great relationship with your waiter, for free. Most passengers think the main dining room and the steakhouse are two completely separate worlds, but the truth is they share the same galley. On Carnival, for instance, there is a steakhouse selection section printed quietly at the very bottom of the free dining room menu. If you ignore this hack, you end up overpaying for a full reservation when you really only wanted that one signature dish. Or worse, you settle for the standard, everyday steak which just doesn't compare. But here's the kicker. Many head waiters have the authority to pull items from other menus if you simply ask politely during a slow service night. Always scan the very bottom of your dinner menu for premium selections. And ask your head waiter if off-menu, specialty desserts from the steakhouse can be delivered to your table. 4. The 24/7 hidden buffet station. When the main buffet lines go dark and the shutters come down, most passengers think food service is over until breakfast. But on a ship with 2,000 crew members working 24-hour shifts, the kitchen never truly sleeps. There is almost always a secret station staying open to serve the night owls. Imagine it's 3 a.m. on an MSC ship. The buffet looks like a ghost town. However, tucked away in a small corner near the casino or a specific 24-hour bar, there's a rotating selection of fresh pizza, grilled sandwiches, and pastries. This isn't a mealtime you'll find in the app. It's a logistics station designed for the crew and late-night gamblers that passengers are perfectly welcome to use. If you don't know where this station is, you'll end up ordering room service and paying a $10 delivery fee plus a tip for a mediocre club sandwich. You'll go to bed hungry because you thought the ship had closed. Most cruisers miss this because it's usually located far away from the traditional dining areas. On day one, walk the entire length of the promenade and the areas adjacent to the casino to find the one cafe that stays stocked with crew-ready snacks 24/7. 5. Spa Thermal Suite Day Passes. Cruise ship spas are notorious for their aggressive sales tactics, especially on embarkation day. They will push $200 weekly passes for the thermal suite, making it seem like a now or never deal. But here is the secret the spa manager doesn't want you to know. They hide day passes that only become available when the ship is in port. Let's look at a typical scenario. A traveler wants to use the heated stone loungers and the hydrotherapy pool, but they can't justify the $199 price tag for a 7-day cruise. If they wait until the ship docks in Cozumel or Nassau, they can walk into the spa at 10 a.m. and buy a port day pass for as little as $39. Since most of the ship is on shore excursions, the spa is empty and desperate for revenue. The consequence of falling for the day one pitch is overpaying for a service you might only use twice. You'll be locked into a weekly rate while the person on the lounger next to you paid a quarter of the price. The crew will never tell you these exist because they are commissioned on high-ticket weekly packages. Never buy a spa pass on embarkation day. Instead, wait until the ship is in port and ask specifically for a day pass to the thermal suite. 6. The aft-facing balcony advantage. Not all balconies are created equal, and some of the best real estate on the ship is actually hidden in plain sight. Aft-facing balconies, those at the very back of the ship, are often 50% to 100% larger than standard side balconies, and frequently, they cost exactly the same. On many Celebrity or Royal Caribbean ships, the aft cabins have balconies that are so deep they can fit 2 full-length loungers, a dining table, and still have room to walk around. Compare that to a side balcony where you can barely squeeze past your chair to reach the railing. Plus, you get a 180-degree view of the ship's wake, which is the most hypnotic and peaceful view at sea. If you don't hunt for these specific room numbers, you're paying the same price for half the space. You'll be looking at your neighbor's balcony divider instead of the infinite horizon. Most cruisers fear the vibration of the back of the ship, but on modern vessels, that's a myth. You're just missing out on a mini-suite experience for a standard price. When booking, use a site like Cruise Deck Plans to identify oversized balconies at the very back of the ship that are categorized as standard cabins. 7. The guaranteed upgrade glitch. There is a specific way to trigger a glitch in the cruise line's inventory system that can land you a free suite upgrade, and it's all about the guaranteed category. Most people are terrified of not picking their own room, but that fear is exactly what costs them a massive upgrade. On lines like NCL or MSC, when you book a guaranteed interior, you aren't assigned a room until a few days before sailing. Because cruise lines often overbook the cheapest rooms to ensure the ship is full, the automated system frequently runs out of interior space. When that happens, the algorithm is forced to bump the remaining guaranteed passengers into unsold balconies or mini-suites at no extra charge. If you insist on picking a specific room on Deck 8 near the elevator, you are locked in. You have zero chance of the system moving you. You'll be sitting in your tiny interior room while the person next to you at dinner got bumped to a balcony for $500 less than you paid. But here's the catch. You have to be comfortable with the gambler's chance. If you aren't picky about your location, always book a guaranteed category to force the inventory system into a potential free multi-deck upgrade. 8. The hidden barista punch card. If you're a coffee lover, the daily miscellaneous bill on a cruise can be a nightmare. Specialty lattes and cappuccinos usually cost $5 to $7 each, plus the mandatory 18% gratuity. Most lines will try to sell you a $60 per day drink package to cover this, but they hide a much cheaper punch card under the counter. On lines like Princess or Holland America, you can often buy a physical coffee card for around $30. This card usually covers 10 to 15 specialty coffees. If you do the math, It brings the price of that latte down to about $2 or $3. The crew won't put a sign up for this because they want you to either pay full price per cup or commit to the expensive daily beverage package. The consequence of not asking for the card is a $100 plus bill at the end of the week just for your morning caffeine fix. Most people think their only options are free buffet coffee or expensive beverage package, but the punch card is the secret middle ground. They usually keep them in a drawer right next to the espresso machine. On day one, go to the specialty coffee bar and ask the barista directly if they sell a prepaid coffee card. It's rarely on the menu. 9. The bridge viewing window. Most passengers only ever see the bridge, the brain of the ship, during a high-priced behind-the-scenes tour that can cost upwards of $150 per person. However, many modern ships have a secret peeking window where you can watch the captain and officers navigate for free. On many Disney, Holland America, and newer celebrity ships, there is an unmarked hallway, usually located forward of the fitness center or hidden near the crow's nest lounge. It features a glass floor or a large window looking directly down into the bridge. You can see the actual nautical charts, the radar screens glowing in the dark, and the officers steering the vessel in real time. If you don't seek this out, you're missing one of the most fascinating parts of the maritime experience. Most people assume the bridge is a high-security zone that is completely invisible to guests. But here's the kicker. Observing the bridge during a tricky harbor navigation is better than any show in the theater. Search for the bridge view or navigation gallery on your deck map. It's usually a quiet, unmarked hallway that is completely free to access. 10. Port Day Flash Discounts. When the ship is docked in a popular port like St. Thomas or Cozumel, 80% of the passengers and half the crew head ashore. This leaves the onboard shops, spas, and even some bars as absolute ghost towns. This is when the Port Day Flash discounts happen. While you are out sweating on a $150 shore excursion, the managers of the onboard boutiques are struggling to meet their daily sales quotas. Around noon, they often roll out unannounced flash sales, where jewelry, watches, and designer bags are marked down by 40% or 50% just to entice the few people left on board to spend money. These deals are almost never listed in the daily planner because they are spontaneous. The consequence of ignoring port days is that you do all your shopping on sea days when the stores are packed and prices are at their absolute peak. You'll pay MSRP, while the savvy cruiser who stayed behind got the same watch for half off. The crew won't talk about it because they want the sea day madness. If you've been to a port before, stay on the ship until lunch and walk through the shops at noon to catch unadvertised empty ship sales. 11. The free laundry secret. One of the biggest hidden expenses on a cruise is the laundry service. The cruise lines will put a bag in your closet and tell you they can wash and fold it for $35 or $40. They conveniently forget to mention that many ships have a self-service laundry room that costs almost nothing. On lines like Carnival, Princess, and Disney, there are small, unmarked rooms tucked into the middle of cabin hallways. For a couple of dollars, usually charged to your room key, you can do 3 full loads of laundry. They even have iron and ironing boards for free. The crew won't point these out because they'd rather you pay for the premium fill-a-bag service. If you don't find the laundromat, you'll end up overpacking and paying $50 in extra luggage fees to the airline, or you'll spend $100 on laundry service midweek. Most cruisers assume self-service laundry doesn't exist on luxury ships, but it's usually just hidden behind a door that looks like another stateroom. Check the deck plans for a laundrette icon or ask a cabin steward for the nearest self-service laundry. It will save you a fortune in baggage fees. 12. Off-menu room service hacks. The room service menu in your cabin is usually pretty basic: sandwiches, salads, and maybe a cheesecake. Most passengers think that's all they can get, but the truth is that the room service menu is just a suggestion. During the operating hours of the main dining room, the kitchen is already mass-producing high-end meals like prime rib, lobster, and specialty pastas. If you call room service and ask, "Is it possible to get the dinner feature from the main dining room delivered to my cabin?" the answer is almost always yes. You might have to pay the standard delivery fee, usually $8 to $10, but you're getting a $40 meal delivered to your bed. The consequence of sticking to the printed menu is eating a cold turkey sandwich while your friends are downstairs enjoying a 5-course feast. You'll be paying for convenience, but getting cafeteria quality. But here's the catch. You have to call during actual MDR hours. Once the dining room closes, the specialty kitchen closes too. During dinner hours, call room service and ask for the main dining room menu items to enjoy a 5-star meal on your private balcony. 13. The library/game room freebies. In the age of high-tech water slides and IMAX theaters, the ship's library and game room are often completely forgotten. Because they are so underutilized, the cruise lines often stock them with high-end freebies that would cost you a lot of money elsewhere. On an Alaska cruise, for instance, the viewing decks are packed. But if you head to the library on day one, you can often find professional-grade binoculars available for guest use. On other ships, the game room has $50 designer board games and decks of high-quality playing cards that you can take for free. If you ignore these rooms, you end up spending $100 on gear at home that you have to lug through the airport, or you miss out on wildlife spotting because you didn't have the right equipment. Most cruisers think the library is just for old romance novels, but it's actually a treasure trove of utility. Visit the library or game room within the first hour of boarding to snag binoculars, board games, or free decks of cards before they are all claimed. 14. The last night unsold photo sale. Cruise ship photographers take thousands of physical photos every day, and they print almost all of them. By the last night of the cruise, there are literal mountains of unsold physical photos sitting in the racks. The staff would rather sell them for $2 than throw them in the recycling bin. Most people pay $25 per photo throughout the week because they are afraid their favorites will be lost. But if you wait until about 2 hours before the gallery closes on the final night, you can walk up to the desk and negotiate. I've seen passengers walk away with a bundle of 10 or 20 photos for a flat $30 just because the staff wanted to clear the racks. The consequence of buying early is paying a 500% markup on a piece of paper. Most cruisers think the prices are set in stone, but the photo gallery is one of the few places on the ship where end-of-voyage desperation creates massive leverage for you. Don't buy any photos until the very last night of the cruise. Then go to the gallery an hour before closing and ask for a bulk clearance deal. 15. The crew-only pool, the behind-the-scenes view. There is an entire mirror ship below the waterline that most passengers never see. This is where the 1000 plus crew members live, eat, and relax. While you can't go down there without an invitation, there is a secret way to see the crew pool and get a glimpse of the real below-deck life. If you go to the very front of the ship on deck 5 or 6, depending on the ship class, you can often look over the forward railing and see the mooring deck. This is where the massive anchors are held. Tucked into this working area is almost always a small, circular pool or hot tub and a bar area exclusively for the crew. It's a fascinating look at the logistical world that makes your vacation possible. The consequence of staying in the guest zones is that you miss out on the human element of cruising. Seeing the crew relaxing and having their own sail away party makes you realize how hard they work. But here's the kicker. This is also the best place to spot dolphins because the crew pool is located at the lowest possible point at the bow. Head to the forwardmost public deck and look down over the railing at the working bow to see the crew's private retreat and the best dolphin watching spot on the ship. Cruising is an art form, and the more you know about the hidden ship, the more value you get out of every single dollar you spend. From secret forward decks to menu hacks that save you $60 a night, don't let the crew be the only ones with the insider info. If you found these 15 features helpful, hit that subscribe button and comment below with which one you're going to try on your next sailing. Want to know what to avoid next so you don't get kicked off? Watch 12 Things Banned on Cruise Ships in 2025 right here. Happy cruising!